Well, I am in my childhood bedroom today, and I want to talk about the gentle art of Swedish death cleaning, and more importantly, the 2 questions that we can ask ourselves when it comes to dealing with some of this really sentimental stuff from the past. I'm going to show you some things that I had hiding under my old bed here that I had completely forgotten were here, but I think it's time to deal with them once and for all. Well, like I said, this isn't the room I grew up in. This is the room I was in like high school and beyond. The room itself actually holds some special memories too. I'll share that in the end. But my mom has been so graciously housing a lot of things from Diana and I from our childhood and high school and even college years too. And so I thought it was time that we go through some of this stuff, and I really love the principles in The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. In it, Margareta poses 2 questions that we can use to deal with the stuff in our home. So why don't we jump in and I'll show you my collection here. So this is my old bed, and we've taken the mattress off. We moved it downstairs for a guest room, so that's why it's like just the frame now. But underneath it, I had stored my collection of porcelain dolls. So how it even started, I think I was in like 5th grade, and we went to one of those like indoor flea market places, and my dad, he always liked looking at like old toy like die-cast tractors and that kind of stuff, or getting new pieces for my brother's like Erdl set. And I remember one time we were at one of those places and I walked by and I saw this porcelain doll, and I just could not get it out of my head. We walked around more, so finally we were getting ready to leave, and I like told my mom and dad, I'm like, could we go back and look at this doll? This was the doll that had caught my eye. I mean, look, now I don't even know what it was about her, but I always loved the color of her hair and everything. And I know what's funny is now this seems very creepy to me to have this collection of porcelain dolls. But what I just realized was that she came with the name Maggie, which is so funny that that is our second daughter's name, and I had not remembered that at all. So I just saw that on the box and I was like, oh, that's really funny. So this was the first doll I got, and then for different occasions, for birthday and Christmas after that, I would get more dolls. And so a few I bought myself, and then others I got for gifts. I do remember though then getting into, I don't know, probably 7th, 8th grade, and not being so much into them anymore, and I was still getting them for gifts, and then I was like, well, what do you do? You know? So I know how sometimes we start out with collections and then it just keeps growing and growing, even though that wasn't necessarily our intention or what we were wanting anymore, but it's fine. So this was Maggie, and this was the start of my doll collection. But now, like I said, there are a bunch, and they are all dusty because they have been under here now for over 20 years. It wasn't until the mattress got pulled off and I was like, oh, darn it, those are still under there. So I had completely forgotten about them. And even now I'm looking at her, and like her dress, there's like little specks of stuff all over it. So I don't even know what that would take to clean it out. It's a bummer because they were in their boxes, but even that obviously wasn't enough to protect them. Okay, so let's use these 2 questions from the book, The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. So in it, Margareta, the author, she proposes that we shouldn't leave our family or those who are left to come after us after we pass away to deal with all of our stuff, that it's truly a gift that we can give to them to have dealt with all of this stuff. Now, I would like to think I have, you know, many years ahead of me still. Most of us would, I think. But as I saw this stuff in here, I still thought, but I don't want to continue to leave this. It's taking up space in my parents' room. It's just all inventory that still has to be managed. So why don't we deal with this stuff now? And so I do think it's something that we can do at any age. And I love, she quotes Leonard Cohen, who says, putting your house in order, if you can do it, is one of the most comforting activities, and the benefits are incalculable. And I think for those of us who have started to get our house decluttered and in order, we agree with this. It's so great. And so we want other places, even if it's not in our own house, to be in order as well. Okay, so the 2 questions: will I ever need this? Will I ever need it? And will anyone I know be happier if I save it? So as I look at my collection of porcelain dolls and Maggie here, will I ever need it? No, there's absolutely no occasion where I would need 15 porcelain dolls again. And like this one was a little bit higher quality, but a lot of the other ones were much lower quality. So will I ever need it? No. Will anyone else be happier if I save this? I don't think so. Even as I think, you know, having our own girls, they might think it'd be fun to look at them, but I don't imagine they would want to manage a collection like this. I don't think they would want to do what it would take to get them cleaned up to be presentable again. And so, no, I don't think that if I kept this, anyone would be happier for it. And so I love that there's just 2 questions, like only 2. And so what she says though, if you said, well, I don't know, maybe maybe it's not porcelain dolls, maybe it's something else, would anyone be happier? And you're like, I guess I don't know. I don't know. So if I was really going back and forth, what she proposes is, well, ask them. Call them right now and ask them. So if I was really going back and forth, if, you know, our daughters would want even one of these to keep, I could ask them right now and say, would you like to, you know, maybe each pick one out that you could have. But again, I don't think it's gonna be anything special to them because it's nothing they've had memories of me. Like, they don't remember me caring for my porcelain doll collection, or we don't have any joint experiences or memories or emotions around this. Kind of like when my mom had asked me if I would want my late grandma's china set. And I looked at it and I'm like, I don't remember that china set at all. And she was like, well, no one ever used it, right? And so I was like, I could take it, but it doesn't link any memories of my grandma to it with me. And so if I'm going to keep anything special, I want it to be a token that reminds me of the person and, you know, really does jog those really great memories. And so that's how I look a little bit differently at sentimental stuff and things like this. So it does not pass the test. I answered no to both questions. So to me that says the porcelain dolls are gonna go, and I really feel okay with that. Like I said, I had actually completely forgotten that they were here until the mattress got pulled off the bed. So I really do feel okay about that. But let's talk about a few other things. So also under the bed is all of our artwork. So Diana and I don't know, we always took art classes in high school and even into college. And so we each have 2 portfolios under here of artwork. And so again, if we ask the 2 questions, do I need high school artwork in the future? No, I don't. And would it benefit anyone to keep it? No. So I think what I'm gonna do with this, because, you know, I don't know, would our kids think it's cool to see some of, you know, mom's artwork? It's not great. None of it's awesome. It's fine. Like, it's nothing. So I think I might make a quick pass through these and take pictures of a few things that I might think were kind of cool. But as for the actual physical art, then be willing to let the rest go. You know, the other thing is, a lot of this stuff deteriorates in storage, right? And so unless I'm really gonna intentionally find a way to store it well, and even with these too, I had ended up putting them back in their boxes. I have a shelf, I'll show you the shelf I had here, where they were all displayed, but I noticed they kept getting dusty. And so then I felt bad that they were getting dusty. And so then I put them back in their boxes, right? And so much of this stuff is constantly deteriorating in storage. And so again, the things I want to keep, I want to make sure they're like hardy things, you know, like my grandma's milk glass, or even my other grandma's red tablecloth. They're things that they can get used, they can get washed, and they wear really well. But like this kind of stuff, it absolutely doesn't. I didn't know there was all these treasures under the bed. There is a bag of stuffed animals, and I think some of them are mine and some are Diana's. I had gotten rid of a lot of mine in the past because, again, I mean, I even used to, like, I would write on it. So I got this in 1997 for Christmas. Like, I loved my stuff. It's kind of dusty now. I loved my stuffed animals. Like, I took really good care of them, and they all had names, and I would keep the tags on so I could remember when I got them and all that. So I really did treasure them in the past. But again, if I ask myself, do I need it in the future? Of course not. Would someone be happier because I keep it? No, I don't even know that I would be happier. It was kind of fun to see it again, but is this something I want to manage? Does it have such great memories attached to it that I want to put it in my memory box or continue to find a way to store it? It really doesn't. And so I'm gonna let these go, unfortunately, because they're pretty dirty now. I think they'll probably just end up going in the trash, which that sucks, right? Like, we don't want to throw away stuff from our childhood, but to me, it is just not worth continuing to manage. And there was actually a quote by Steve Jobs. I was trying to find it again. I couldn't come across it again. But he said something to the effect that when he's making life decisions, he always thinks about death. And he does it in light of death, which is morbid, but the whole topic's morbid that we're talking about today. And I don't think we can live like we're dying every day and every day keep, you know, that mindset. But I do think sometimes when it comes to this stuff, to realize, okay, come the end of dawn, is this going to have any meaning or value? Is not only anyone else, but is it going to be something I'm going to want to leave behind as something that I treasured and cared enough about to maintain for my whole life? And it just doesn't. And I love that I can enjoy it and I could love it for a season when I was a kid, but that season has passed. And so now I'm willing to let it go because I do want to remember the past, but I also want to keep my eyes focused forward, and I want to keep enjoying today and looking ahead to our future. And so I feel like this stuff can tend to weigh us down, and I know it's not what we want, right? That's not our intention when we keep it, but it's amazing how that starts to happen. Okay, so let's head over to another part of the room. Like I said, this room itself is actually kind of special to me because my dad and I refinished it together. So this is the upper level of my parents' house, and there's 3 bedrooms and a landing. Well, this bedroom was just always used for storage, and the 2 other bedrooms got remodeled, and my brother had one, Diana and I shared one. And then when we were in high school, I was like, I want my own room. And it's a shame that this room is just sitting here in storage. And so there was actually a dividing wall. So there was a hallway to the door that goes out to like the 2nd level porch, and then a door that went into the room. And so we took out the dividing wall, my dad put in a header, we sheetrocked it, I mudded and taped and all of that. And all of the trim in here was original to the house, and I repainted it as well. So lots of good memories in here doing all that. But because of my porcelain doll collection, my dad was like, oh, why don't we do a built-in shelf here? And then that's where you can display them. So that's where they were displayed for quite a while. But then Diana moved back in, well, a number of years ago, and when she was going to ministry school, and she took it over, and because the shelves were empty, she overloaded it with books. She's even taken books out of here. But you know, all you scholarly people, you have to have all your books, right? It's like a sign of how smart you are, right? I'm just kidding. I have nothing against books, but I never want to manage more inventory than I have to, right? And it does seem like a shame that these have all been sitting here for over 7 years now with nobody picking them up or reading them. And so again, if we're going to use our 2 questions, question 1, could I use this in the future? And that's the fear, right? Yeah, I probably could, right? They're perfectly good books, but will I actually use these in the future? And the truth is no. Diana's picked out the books that she really likes, and then these are the ones that are left over. And so could somebody use them? Yes. So why don't we pass them on to somebody who could actually use them instead of letting them collect dust, literally collect dust here, right? And again, I know we have a lot of emotional attachment to our books, but something that I've realized when they were in our own house and magazines is that I feel stress when I look at them. It kind of reminds me of like FOMO, fear of missing out, because I look at them and I think I should be reading them. Do you know how much collective wisdom is in all of these books? My goodness, I mean, these are incredible books here, but we can only take in and manage so much information, right? And so I feel stressed, like I should be reading those when I see bookshelves like this in our home. And so I love using the container concept here, that we define some areas. We say it's only going to be 1 row deep. We put in our favorites, and then we're willing to let the rest go. The other question then, of course, in light of the Swedish Death Cleaning is, would someone else in my family be happier because I left these here? I see this being more of a burden to them than a benefit. All right, but lest you worry, we run out of examples here in my old bedroom. I just saw a couple more things. So, oh man. Musical instruments. Diana was a clarinetist, so this is her clarinet, and this is a trumpet. I played the French horn, but do you know how much it sucks to do marching band with a French horn? Oh my goodness, it's ridiculous, right? And so I had told my mom, I'm like, marching band is so dumb with a French horn. And so she's like, well, why don't you like get a trumpet or something? And so we were at a garage sale and we saw a trumpet, and so I got a trumpet. I never actually played it in marching band. So what do we do with these? would I possibly need a clarinet or a trumpet in the future? No. I actually sold my French horn after college then too. I did not have the nerve to tell my mom until like 5 years later, but at the time Tom and we needed the money. So I sold it, but I was so glad because it went to a gal who said that she was just getting back into playing the French horn after her kids were grown, and she was so excited to find like a professional French horn in like brand new condition because I only played it for a couple years in college. And so it was actually really fun to be able to sell that to her and for someone to be using it, right? And so even as I think of these instruments now, I mean, like a woodwind, it's gonna break down over time. It's been up here for over 20 years without anyone playing it. And so I don't even know, you all would know better. Is it still good? I'm sure there's things that would need to be refurbished. And so I would really love to just like donate these to, you know, a music place or somewhere where they can do the work that it would need to be done and then resell it, or I don't know. Are there programs where you can donate this for kids? I have no idea, but I would look for the easiest place to donate right now, the season I'm in. But I would much rather, we have pictures, you know, from band and our old band programs and our scrapbooks. I don't feel like we need the actual instruments to remember that by. And again, if we ask the question, would anyone be happier? Will my kids be happier if someday they have to clean out this room and they come across a trumpet and a clarinet? No, because then they just have to make that decision. So I actually love this quote from the book. She says, "You can always hope and wait for someone to want something in your home, but you cannot wait forever. And sometimes you must just give cherished things away with the wish that they end up with someone who will create new memories of their own." And I know, you know, for many of you who have had adult children, I'm obviously not in that season yet, but I have gotten to visit with many of you. And it's difficult when we think our kids should want their baby items and their christening gowns and the outfit they wore home from the hospital and all of that. And so I know it actually is very difficult at times and can be quite disillusioning when we don't understand why they don't want that stuff. But I know many of you had said too, like, I'm just coming to understand that these upcoming generations look at stuff differently. And in many ways it's good. They don't have the same attachment to physical stuff, but in other ways it can just be sad and something we have to grieve. I do think though, I don't want you to think all, you know, millennials or whatever, or whatever the generation is below that we're not sentimental at all. I think we're just sentimental in a different way. So we got my parents a subscription to Storyworth for Christmas. And again, that's where it just gives prompts and you go in and you fill it out and you write out answers to different things like about your childhood and different things like that. And I love it because most of us, we want to hear the stories. We don't necessarily want to be burdened with the physical items, but we want to hear the stories. We're still very interested in our family history and where we came from and the people, right? We want to connect with people and hear those stories. And so it just looks different. It's not that we don't care or that we're not sentimental. It just looks different. And so I do want to encourage you to, you know, ask your kids, ask other family members if there's things that they want. I think once in a while, I think we do sometimes know our kids well enough that we can create a small memory box for them and put in some things that we've cherished, you know, and that they cherished, that we knew they cherished when they were younger, because it can feel hard just to get rid of everything. And so I think curating a special collection that we can give to them when the time is right, I think that's an awesome gift to be able to give. It's not an overwhelming amount, right? It's not, I know, I hear the stories where, you know, parents are like, here, take all your stuff, right? It's not an overwhelming amount for them to manage, but it really is a special curated collection for them. And I think that is such a cool gift that you could give your kids. One other thing too, I just remembered, and I saw the furniture set. So this was my mom's grandma's dresser and bed frame, and I refinished it when I was in high school one summer, which was super fun. But one thing that Margareta recommends is starting with the big stuff. So start with big pieces like furniture and the more burdensome pieces, which I think is really wise. And so this set, I'm really glad that it can live in this room and that it has a place. It's not, you know, it's not a burden in here, but she does recommend to start with the big stuff. So I think that's good too. It gets us, we can get some quick wins, get some wins under our belt and kind of build up our decluttering muscles then as we head into, you know, the more smaller things and often the more sentimental pieces. But not to make light of it, furniture can be very difficult to get rid of, but I think when we do think through the the toll that it takes on us managing all this stuff, the big stuff really weighs on us, especially if you have it somewhere like a basement or attic or garage where you have to protect it from the elements and pests and all that kind of stuff. And it's just something more that we have to manage. And so we really have to decide where we're at, and is that stuff that we want to continue to manage, or could we take pictures and pass it on? I love what the minimalists say. They say the memories are in our heart. They're not in the physical items. And I know we feel like we need the physical items to jog those memories, but I can't believe how often I'm just out and about. I'll see a piece of furniture that reminds me of this, or you know, we're walking by a shop window and I see something. And so there are still gonna be tons of those reminders out there for you to remember the happy memories, and we don't have to keep all of the physical items, especially if it's become kind of overwhelming. All right, so thank you for joining me in my bedroom today. I would love to know, where are you at in this process? What things have helped you, especially if you have adult kids and trying to navigate what they want, what they don't want? If you will leave that down below, your wisdom is so helpful and it's just gold. So I really appreciate that as well. But otherwise, I hope you have a great day. I love you, and I'll see you again soon.